So if you're someone who is dealing with congestion or a runny nose and sneezing and all of the things, and you want a drug-free option to support your body and to support your wellness, today I'm sharing the exact drug-free and homeopathic remedies and over-the-counter medicines that I like to use for my family and what just got us through an upper respiratory infection. So I want to share all the things that just helped us get through this faster. And here's the thing, whenever we are struck by any sort of, sickness or whatever, obviously go to the doctor. There's a disclaimer below. This is for informational purposes only. This is what I use specifically for my family from a holistic standpoint and as a holistic nutritionist. So my focus is always, how do I support the body? How can you support your body when it's in the midst of trying to fight something off? And how can you support all of the natural functions that God created your body to do? I love to use homeopathics because they work in a really, really interesting way. So they work by using natural ingredients that are highly diluted that actually stimulate the functions of your body to resolve these things on their own. So this isn't one of those, take all of this stuff, you don't have to take everything that I take, but I wanted to share some of the things that we keep on hand and kind of give you a peek into the pantry, my homeopathic pantry of the things that I like to use for my family. All of these things you can purchase at Walmart. This is not sponsored, but I love to go there, especially because of the hours that they have. And when you're struck with a cold, it's typically inconvenient, and it's super convenient to just go and pick up some things. I listed my Walmart storefront, so you can check out all of these things that I'm mentioning today. You can pick them up anywhere, but that's just our go-to for the best prices on these. And they're having more and more natural and homeopathic options. So first up, I'm gonna share all the things that got my little guy through this. So this started actually with me, and then it moved on to him, and then it progressed to my husband. So we have all had this, and we've all used varying degrees of all of the products that I'm gonna share with you, because these are the things that actually helped. So once we get into this, I feel like you're going to be more equipped, if you don't already use these products, to really help your body and to support your body, because ultimately that's the goal. We want to support the body in its own natural ability to heal. So one of the things that little kids have a hard time doing, well, mine does, is to blow his nose. So he cannot blow his nose. And when he was younger, when he was a baby, I would use like the nose Frida. It may be gross to some, but it was great for us. Or you can use like the little suction thing. So he would fight us on that all the time. So one of the things that I have used over the years since he was a baby was a drug-free saline mist. So I'll share all the ones that I love to use below, and then I might put a picture on the screen. So this is a great way to loosen up phlegm so they're not so congested and so stuffy, because you want that mucus to be able to come out of the body. And if they can't blow their nose, one of the best ways to do that is to use a saline mist. And we love using that. I actually use one. He has used the ones that are for adults now, but when he was a baby, I love to use, I think it was called Little Remedies was the name of that one. I'll link it below. And that was such a great place so that he could actually, the mucus could actually get out of his nose and he was less miserable. The other thing is lollipops. And these I didn't find until this year. These are absolutely phenomenal. I love this brand. It's called Beekeeper's Natural. Everything is made from honey and from propolis, which is absolutely amazing for our immune system and our immune function. If you're allergic to bees, allergic to honey, skip all of this. But this one is absolutely amazing because it only has 2 grams of sugar per lollipop, but it is packed with vitamin D. So one lollipop has 63% of your daily value of vitamin D. Vitamin D is amazing for your immune system and to help the body's system, help your body and your immune system to actually fight invaders and things that shouldn't be there, like this cold or this virus or whatever's going around. And then it also has something that's really awesome, which is zinc. So zinc is incredible for your immune system. Zinc is a mineral that actually tells your body to create specific regulatory immune cells. So these immune cells that it tells to create tells your body to create are the ones that actually get rid of toxic things from the body. So it does it in the form of creating, telling the body to create more macrophages. And macrophages literally eat up all those bad things and the debris left behind from viruses and things like that, and removes it from the body. So zinc is absolutely amazing along with vitamin D. And it's in a form that you don't have to worry about giving your kid a pill or anything like that. This is, he loved these, and it has the benefit of soothing his throat. So he loved these. My husband actually ate one. I had the one for adults. I'll show you that in a little bit. The other thing that we used was this immune support. And this is also by the same brand. This is phenomenal because one, it tastes amazing, but two, it has bee propolis, which is all of it, and these things are gluten-free and dairy-free as well. But this is amazing for your immune system as well as soothing your throat. So I would literally just take this, spray it in the back of his throat, and he would usually go, "That's really good." And then that's when I actually went and got him the lolipops, because I wanted him to be able to have something that was kind of like a lozenge, but for kids. So love that so much. Next up, this is the Sambucus for flu relief. And when you're getting things for, you know, a cold, if it's viral, you know, which colds are, these are things that are going to help boost the immune system so it can do what God created it to do. I do want to mention here, this is a homeopathic, but I do want to just caution you, if you are allergic to lactose, if you are allergic to milk products, this does contain, let me show you the ingredients here. Other inactive ingredients: citric acid, elderberry extract, ethyl alcohol, fructose, glycerin, lactose monohydrate, natural flavors, and purified water. So I just want to caution you, if you have any issues with those, you might want to skip this one. But I was able to use it and I was fine with it. I just didn't have it every single day. I just had it kind of at the beginning of my symptoms. Anytime you see black elderberry or zinc or anything containing vitamin C, you want to grab those, because those are actually going to help the immune system fight whatever virus is going on. So this is the Sambucol black elderberry cold and flu relief. And these have these little, so fast temporary relief. And these are quick dissolve. These are all homeopathics, which I love because they have just natural ingredients, things that have been used for years and years and years. And then again, you want to look at your ingredients here if you have any issues, because this does contain lactose, which a lot of the homeopathics do. And though I have issues with drinking milk or having cheese and things like that, having a little bit as a vessel for medicine, I kind of, you know, you weigh your pros and your cons. I'm going to show you what these look like. They're little quick dissolve tablets. And if you take them at the beginning signs of any sort of cold or flu or anything like that, that's when it's at its best, and that's when it helps the most. Just like most things like elderberry and echinacea, things like that. So these are what the little quick dissolve tablets look like. You don't chew them, you just let them dissolve on your tongue. Really, really like these because my husband especially noticed a huge difference because he got sick after we did, so he started taking them. And then these were in heavy rotation. We actually need to get more. This comes in a 2-pack, but I use the daytime and I use the cough and immune. And these are for 2 to 12-year-olds, and this one's for 1 to 12-year-old. And I have been using this brand since my son was a little baby. And there's some other ones that I use too, and I'll list those. But these, I love the ingredients on these. I love how simple and easy to find they are. This 2-pack, I want to say, was $14 or something like that at my local Walmart. So those are the things that I gave my son, along with some, broth and things like that. One of the things that my husband and I used, these are the Fisherman's Friend. Years ago, I actually had a friend share one of these with me. And when I say these things are potent, these things are potent. Like, it will open up your nasal passages like I mean, it's absolutely amazing. But it has natural ingredients in it. I'll show you what they look like. They just look like these little, they kind of remind me of Altoids in a way. But this is what they look like. Here's one of them. You can see that. It's just this little lozenge. And it just, I mean, when I say it clears you up, it clears you up. This was such a great way of having a drug-free way of opening up your nasal passages, as well as using the nasal spray that we used. And then the other thing that we have been using for years, and I'm not gonna lie to you, it takes a little bit of getting used to the feeling of squirting water up your nose, but it actually is an Ayurvedic practice that has been going on for years and years and years. So they would put something that looked almost like a tea kettle, and it would go on one side of the nostril, and then it would flush, and then you would do the other side of the nostril. Well, my husband found this about maybe 5 or 6 years ago, where we were using the little pot, but we have since graduated to using the squeeze bottle because it's so much simpler. So that's going to keep your nasal passages from not just having a bunch of, excuse what I'm about to say, but mucus, without having a bunch of mucus and it gets stuck and trapped up there in your sinus cavity and creates a ton of pressure. This is a way of nasal irrigation, of literally rinsing it out of your nose. We actually love to use this too around the season when you're outside and you're doing a lot of work, and you know, you're gardening or you're cutting grass, or spring has sprung and there's pollen everywhere. And this is another great practice just to do maybe once or twice a week if you've been outside and you've been hit with a lot of pollen, or pollen is high during that time in your city or your state. You want to irrigate your nose if you can't blow it, and it's just a great way of getting things out so your body doesn't have to create massive amounts of mucus to move it out, which can then turn into upper respiratory things because things get trapped. So that's one of the ways that we absolutely love to make sure that we're helping our body to get rid of things, and also getting rid of things that we want out of the body. And that's going to be things like mucus, because mucus is literally carrying a lot of, you know, so a bunch of white blood cells, and it's carrying a lot of these viruses that it has fought out of the body. So you always want to use, or definitely want to caution you, you never, ever, ever want to use tap water or even filtered water for your neti pot or any sort of nasal irrigation, because it can be deadly. So you want to make sure that you're using distilled water only. So that is one of the tips that I wanted to give you for that, because you don't want to just go and get this and then fill it up with your sink water. Please don't do that. Please don't do that. So that is one of the things that we've been using. Obviously, if you're a family, get your own bottle. You don't want to share this. And you want to make sure that you're sterilizing it after you're done using it. We use it for a season, and then we get rid of it. There's also a bottle that they sell that's pre-mixed if you don't have distilled water, or if they're out, that's another option for you, because it already has a mixture in it. But we love to get the pack that has all the little pre-mixed saline solution. You don't want to just use salt. You don't want to, there's a balance that you need, or else it really, really burns. So that is one of the things that we love to use. Super, super simple. And it's one of the things that we have been using for years that has helped us so much. There are a ton of other home remedies that have been done over the years, and there are things that just work. And I absolutely love doing an Epsom salt bath. I gave my son an Epsom salt bath with eucalyptus, and that helps to, the eugenol and eucalyptus actually helps to open up those nasal passages. So things that contain menthol and mint are going to really help the nasal passages to naturally open up. If you have essential oils, now is a good time to do that as well. There's a chest rub that I use for my son that he also really liked, and I like to rub that on the chest, throat, back, and the bottoms of the feet. And this is a great way of helping the body to just breathe easier and to really open up those passages, so that you know, there's nothing worse than a congested child. Well, I can't say nothing worse, but having your child congested and everything is really, really hard to watch. So I like to give things that are supportive and that are as natural as I can possibly find them. In saying that, there are times when we do take over-the-counter things to help. So we love a brand called Genexa, because you're taking something that you want to help your body, but you don't on top of it want to cause extra stress due to things like horrible chemicals or excess chemicals or artificial colors and flavors and preservatives that are really terrible on the body. So your body's already fighting off whatever it's fighting off, the virus or the bacteria or whatever, and then you're trying to help the body, but at the same time, sometimes we're giving our body things that are making it that much harder. And I think that that's why many times sickness can last so long, because we're only focusing on the symptoms, and the things that we're using to help the symptoms are actually not very healthy to begin with. Don't get me wrong, when we're in a crunch or if we're somewhere where I don't have these homeopathic things, I'm going to reach for something that is more so a medication so that we can help our bodies to at least get some relief, so we can do things like sleep, because sleep is paramount when your body is healing and fighting something off. I wanted to give another caveat with some of the herbs that we love to use and I love to use. You don't want to needlessly take herbs that stimulate the immune system. So things like echinacea, I love echinacea, and it is absolutely amazing for the body and for the immune system. However, it stimulates the immune system into action. And since it does that, if you're taking this needlessly where you don't already have some sort of virus or already have some sort of allergic condition or something going on in your body and you're feeling great, now it's not the time to take echinacea, because you don't want to take something that is going to tell your immune system to ramp up, especially if you are someone who has an autoimmune condition or you're someone who struggles with an inflammatory condition. So you want to take these things as needed. Obviously, speak with a medical professional, speak with a doctor, but you don't want to needlessly take these things and stimulate the body to do something that it's not needing to do at that time. So take echinacea and things like, zinc and all of those things when at the first sign of, in most of the packages, that's what they say at the first. Here's one right here. Fast temporary relief from nasal congestion, sore throat, and whatnot. To take it for best results, use at the first sign of symptoms of a cold or flu. So the reason why it says that is because it has black elderberry in it. Things like elderberry, things like echinacea, those are things that you want to definitely wait until you're feeling bad to take. You don't want to just take those because you heard that it was healthy. They are healthy, but they're healthy in context. And I'm always encouraging people, the confusion around a lot of the health and the wellness topics is because many people are doing things out of what they've heard is good without actually applying that to their lives and saying, does this even fit my health symptoms or my health season at all? So don't take things that don't apply to you and use things in context. Contact a medical professional, and you don't want to take these things if you don't need them. So these really are as needed. There are other things that you can take on a regular basis that help to support the body and the immune system. That's going to look like things like vitamin C. That's going to look like things like omega-3s. That's going to look like anti-inflammatory foods, things like ginger. Ginger is one of those things you can take all year round for whatever reason in your food. So I like to look at things as food first, and then you supplement what you can't get or what the body needs extra support in. That's always my standpoint. I don't ever want to encourage you to take things needlessly or just because you heard that it was good. It is very individual and very personal. So you want to make sure that it just fits your context of health and wellness. So there are so many supportive things that we can do through our food as well, and I don't want to leave that out. Obviously, go with anything that is going to work with you. Leave the things that don't. If you're allergic to something, obviously don't use it. But there are some things that have been used that are tried and true that have been used over the years. I really love herbs, and I love more of a natural approach when it comes to how can we support the immune system and what can we do for it so that it is just active and resilient. So one of the things that I love to do, you've heard of, eating soup when you're sick and things like that. So why do we do that? The reason why we do that is because soup that's made from meat stock is going to have glycine in it. Glycine is an important amino acid, but not just that to help the gut, but it's really, really important that we're getting enough protein, because proteins are broken down into amino acids in the body, and the body needs amino acids for building, repair, and especially during times of a lot of viruses coming at us and bacteria coming at us. It helps the body to fight these things off by boosting and supporting the immune system. So one of the things that I love to do is whenever we're making soup, I love to add things that I know are going to be really beneficial to the body. So that's going to look like adding something specifically, which this is a very potent flavor if you're not used to it, so you can start small, but it's a really easy way to get this in a larger amount to really help the immune system. And one of those things is going to be turmeric. There's a constituent in turmeric called curcumin, and curcumin is absolutely amazing because it has qualities that are antibacterial and antiviral. So those are some of the things that I like to add to soup specifically. And I like to add things that are going to help the system. So if you're someone who likes chicken noodle soup, I like to keep the carbohydrates a little lower on that. And I like to add extra, whether it's through the meat or it's extra stock that I like to make with that. And I love to add things to it that are also going to support your respiratory system. So that's going to look like things like rosemary and thyme. So I love to use herbs and layer them into soups. It's not only going to give it a great flavor, but it's also going to support your immune system and your immune function. So adding turmeric with black pepper, which helps it to be extremely bioavailable, which means that your body can use it and take it up for use very easily. I love to add that to soups. I added it to my son's soup. I added it to my soup, and it gives a little bit of a earthy but buttery flavor. So I like to add that, and then I also like to drizzle on olive oil on top. So those are some of the things that I love to add to our soups to make sure that we are getting in some really, really great nutrients for the body so that it can be supportive. And when you're sick, you don't feel like eating. Something else that I love to add to soups is going to be cauliflower. Cauliflower is extremely high in vitamin C. So if you're someone who cannot tolerate things like citrus, which I can't tolerate too much citrus with, histamine intolerance. So things have improved so much with my histamine intolerance. But I still don't want to go overboard on things like citrus. So I love to add in food sources of vitamin C as opposed to taking some sort of vitamin C supplement, because vitamin C supplements many times can be made from things that you don't necessarily want to take, especially if you have an autoimmune condition or you have a lot of allergies and food intolerances, as we do. So the other thing that I love to use is going to be camu powder. I've talked about this a million times. I will share it a million times because it is a staple for us in our home, and I absolutely love to use it. Another herb that I love to take for so many different reasons, but specifically because of the antihistamine properties in it, is going to be stinging nettle leaf. And this you can get in a couple of different forms. You can get it in tea form, which is a great way to start with most herbs, but you can also put it in things. So I absolutely love to actually just take the capsules, but for my son, I like to give him the tea. And I like to pair it with something that's a little sweeter or a little calming. So I love to give him, and I'll put it on the screen somewhere here, but I have like a little tea chest, and I keep teas on hand because I like to give him chamomile and lavender. Lavender is amazing for kids, and so is chamomile. Chamomile is also great for your immune system and great for your gut. So when we are really inflamed and the body is fighting, we want to keep inflammation down in certain areas of the body while the immune system is causing inflammation in other areas. So the body is naturally going to cause your adenoids, which are your lymphatic tissue that's in your nasal cavity. It's going to inflame that to keep things from going to other parts of the body. And when you have an upper respiratory infection, that's where all of your symptoms are going to show up as well. So it's going to look like possibly runny eyes. If you have a lot of sinus congestion, it's going to look like, it's going to be a stuffy nose, and it might even be some chest congestion. So those are some of the things that I like to do. You want to thin that mucus out as much as possible, and those are some of the ways that I like to do it. When you're sick, I don't know if you're like me, but you don't really want water. This is a great time to get in things that are going to be supportive to the body while also helping your body to maintain balance with your electrolytes, which is getting the water in and out of the cells at a great balance, because your body uses a lot of electrolytes when it is under stress and when you're sick. And what's more stressful to the body than being sick? So those are just some of the food things that I like to approach things with. So with things like teas and soups and with actual electrolytes, I use Element. You can use different products. You can even just take some warm water and add a squeeze of lime or a squeeze of lemon, and then some really high quality sea salt, which I love to use Redmond real salt. And that's actually what my husband did. He just sprinkled that in his drink. In order to get my son to drink some water, I actually used like a half of one of the Element packets for him. So I put that in his. And for me, I just drank a lot of teas, and I also added Redmond real salt to my water. And then on other days, I would use the Element. So I feel like our sickness didn't last very long at all. It seemed to knock us all out for about a day and a half, and then we were feeling so much better. So those are some of the food things that I like to do. Some of the supplement things that I like to do, I love to make sure that I'm getting in omega-3 fatty acids so that my body can really fight inflammation and mitigate it in a healthy way. You want it to be balanced. You don't want it to become chronic. So I like to take that, and I kind of double up on those. And I also like to make sure that I'm not getting in a ton of sugar, because sugar can be extremely inflammatory, and you don't want to worsen your symptoms and worsen your congestion, because that's exactly what it will do. So stick more to real food things. If you want to sweeten things, a great place to start, if you can tolerate it, is some sort of fruit. I also gave my son some coconut water, and that's another great way if you don't want to grab electrolytes from the store. Coconut water is a great way to do that. I like to take the coconut water and I like to dilute it with water and just some filtered water, and then I like to sprinkle some sea salt in there just to make sure that you're getting a good balance of the electrolyte. If you haven't already, be sure to like this video to let me know that you like seeing things like this. If you have any questions or anything that you want me to cover, I love to do like Q&A videos, and I like to compile those, and when I get those, I like to create a video that answers those questions. You can also visit styleandstewardship.com for anything that I've mentioned here. The links are typically in the description below, but everything that you could ever want to know can be found at my website. If you're someone who is looking to be empowered in their health and their wellness, and you want to really have first steps or next steps when it comes to supporting your health and wellness so that you can be well and feel well and hear well done, as well as encouraging the legacy and the health legacy of your family, be sure to click the link below. I work one-on-one, and I love to help people to really get to a place of true wellness for them individually. If that is of interest to you, be sure to click on one of the links below. Until next time, your life matters. What you do with it matters. So what will you steward well? Peace.